Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. A hot topic today, as usual, education. And he's got the rundown.
Sam, Congressman Jim Gibbons has introduced an initiative petition. It's to force the legislature to vote on the education budget first. What could be wrong with this? Today we have Don Gibbons and Scott Craigie for the initiative petition, and Chris Wicker and the Democrats against. Sam?
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Bob Larkin, Liz MacMenamin, Harry York, and Chris Wicker. It's all coming up next on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
The Abowed family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Catch a straight, dine at 8. Lucky you. Lucky you. Dance till 1. Have some fun. Lucky you. Lucky you. Taste the shrimp. Have a sip. Try the pool. Play it cool. At the Sienna Hotel Spa Casino. Lucky you.
In business, the key to success is not the quantity of your clients, it's the quality of your clients. Almost all companies will tell you they want more sales, but what they really need are quality customers who pay their bills on time. With Employer Link's client vendor screening program, we provide comprehensive reports regarding the financial performance of your corporate prospects, customers, and vendors. Build your business with great clients and vendors. Call Employer Links today at 883-3733.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years. Call 882-1700 to see what we can do for your organization.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Ande Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
If you care about education and education funding, today is going to be a hot show. We're joined initially here by Don Gibbons and Scott Craigie, talking about the Education First initiative.
This is something that you and your husband, Congressman Jim Gibbons, announced last week.
And well, we're excited about it. Of course, he had an idea, and all of a sudden now Scott and I have to do all the work.
He sounds like my house.
We're taking over credit too, right?
He's an administrator.
An ideal person, okay? But anyway, it's a work of love, and we've been working on it for about 4 months.
Can we get to the substance of it?
Yeah, what does it do?
Oh, it makes the legislature fund education first before holding it hostage for any particular other purpose. But within the first 120 days, if a budget is passed, education must be passed first. And this does not include the money that is needed for the funding for the legislature operation to work. So it will not hurt their efforts, but also if you have a problem and you need new taxes, you fund education first, you fund the essential services, and then the extras can be considered.
Scott, let me ask you, in the last session of the legislature, the problem was that they took the education budget and coupled it with tax hikes that some people had a lot of trouble voting for. Will this prevent that from happening? I mean, even if it comes first, can they couple it with tax hikes still?
Well, you know, obviously they have to pass a balanced budget, but what they did last time was they passed the Appropriations Act that took up all of the budget revenues, the tax revenues, I guess, that are already flowing into government, and they kept education aside. I don't think it was done intentionally at first. I think that once they missed that day on the last night, and they had to go into a special session, the linkage was made then. I'm not really sure it was intentional. But they had to pass the additional taxes before they could pass the education budget because of the way it fell. Unfortunately, it did enormous damage to the education system just in 1 year. We can't afford to have that become a pattern, because if we do, this state has to recruit 70% or more of the teachers that it hires from other states. We don't spend the money on our university system to produce the teachers we need in this fast-growing state.
Scott, you made a strong statement there that there was great damage done. What was the damage that was done, and has it been repaired at this point?
It has not been repaired, and the damage that's been done is that we sent out a signal to states all over the country where we recruit our teachers. We do bring teachers in from all the other states. Last year before this, when we have complete data, we hired 2,304 teachers to fill the classrooms that we needed. Only 625 came from Nevada schools, and it's many schools, not just our university system. We had to get all the rest from out of state. We had people come here, wait, sitting in motels. I was one of these people. In 1977, I was sitting in a motel in downtown Las Vegas waiting for my assignment to CBT Gilbert. If this same problem had happened the year before, I'd have never shown up. Nobody's going to come here. You cannot afford. Plus now with No Child Left Behind, which we've all talked about here a lot, we have to hire fully qualified teachers, which means you have to have a major in the area you're going to teach, math, science, etc. A bunch of other requirements. These are going to be highly sought after. We're never going to see one.
Now, before we get to a break, let me ask Dawn a question. This is initiative petition, so you're out collecting signatures.
Out collecting signatures from all 17 counties, although we only need them from 13, 10% of the registered voters.
And if people are interested in signing it, where do they find somebody with the initiative petition?
Well, it's best for them to go to our website, which is educationfirstfornevada.com. And we will get them a petition and directions and instructions and fact sheets and a study guide, so that'll help them out.
Okay, I got a couple of quick questions here. One to you, Scott.
Yep.
Is there still remaining damage from that legislative session, or did the school system manage to catch up?
I think that the school systems have managed to catch up, and they were able to start the year well. The problem is in the future.
Well, because Nye County didn't open for
Well,
2
that's
weeks.
right. Many of them had serious problems during that time. They actually shut down. But they're out recruiting teachers right now. I'm sure they're telling people, well, there's no legislative session this round, but the impact nationwide is severe.
Okay, and then Don, I've got to turn around to you and say that this is the Gibbons initiative petition, correct?
This?
Yes.
No, this is Education First.
Right, but I mean, okay, then let me rephrase it. You and your husband are going to be traveling all over the state promoting this. There are some who might cynically say, no?
My husband will probably not be traveling all over the state doing that. He has entrusted Scott, Craigie, and myself to do this.
Okay, well, I've got to ask the question because the audience is going to ask the question too. Some would cynically say that this is a great way to promote any future candidacy for Jim Gibbons, whether he continues to stay in Congress or whether he decides that he might want to take a run at the governorship. What do you say to those folks?
Well, I don't really think it does anything for Jim Gibbons, and I've already said I wasn't going to run for re-election.
Well, and the other thing is, I want to make one very important point here. This is a bipartisan effort. We want this to be a bipartisan effort.
Yes, we do.
Actually, Democrats have a very good record supporting education and improvements in education. Governor Miller did class size reduction. I worked on that with him. Republicans supported that.
And I just got off the phone with Harry Reid, Senator Reid, and he is 100% behind
We need to take a break to get Chris Wicker up here.
Senator Reid seemed to be almost 85% behind the President's State of the Union speech, too, which really amazed me.
We need to take a break.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come right back.
Up
More discussion coming up after this.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, voted Reno's best buffet by locals year after year. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch. Atlantis.
Would you like to savor a Trento pork chop? Or maybe pasta rags with grilled chicken? Hugo's Tuscan Grill at D'Andrea is a celebration of color, flavor, and freshness. Each dish is created from natural, wholesome foods that is delicious and nutritious. Hugo's is a comfortable restaurant with breathtaking city views. If you enjoy great food and good company, visit us here at Hugo's. It's the best that dining can be. 2900 South D'Andrea Parkway in Sparks.
Allegra is Northern Nevada's #1 offset printing and digital copying facility.
From disc to destination, Allegra utilizes tomorrow's technology today. We specialize in booklets, catalogs, manuals, newsletters, stationery, and envelopes.
Xerox, Docutech, 4-color printing with Heidelberg Speedmaster, desktop publishing and design, graphic services, pickup and delivery.
If you need printing, Allegra can do it. From disc to destination.
To experience the royal cuisine of India, you need some serious magic or simply transport yourself to India Garden, right here in Reno, where you'll discover Indian specialties refined over centuries. Sikh kebab, tandoori dishes cooked in our own tandoor oven, biryani specialties, curries, fresh-baked Indian bread, over a dozen vegetarian dishes, even dishes rare to India like dosa, South Indian-style crepes. India Garden off South Virginia near Sports West. We are India.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
Education First Initiative petition. We've swapped out Don Gibbons and brought in Chris Wicker.
I apologize for that.
Not as attractive, but with a different viewpoint. This sounds pretty good, that we're going to take care of education first and not have the school systems run into these kind of problems.
What could be wrong with this?
Well, you know, as everybody knows, Democrats have always strongly supported education to the max, and I think much more strongly supported it than the Republican side has. However, you need to look behind this petition, because the problem stated by Mr. Craigie and Ms. Gibbons, they didn't state the problem correctly. The problem that leads to all of this is the fact that a few years ago, Jim Gibbons convinced the voters of this state to enact a provision that put a supermajority requirement on enacting tax increases.
Which the public loves.
The public loves, but unfortunately, we fast forward to last year, and we had a small group of radical conservative Republicans held up the entire legislature, the entire budget process, and that was the problem. It's not the fact that education...
democracy, Chris.
Well, okay, but I'm saying what the problem is, that they held up the budget.
These people are not radicals,
sessions.
Chris. I've talked to them, and they are not radicals. These are people who believed in supporting their constituents, and their constituents overwhelmingly were opposed to that budget.
The tax increase had tremendous bipartisan support. A Republican-dominated task force said we need to increase the taxes this much. In fact, after getting the tax increase, Governor Gwynn just announced that we can't afford any new programs or anything like that. So they held that up. So don't tell me that's not radical.
What Republican-dominated task force?
The task force supported by the governor to determine...
It wasn't Republican-dominated.
Yes, it was.
No.
You have your facts wrong.
Well, let me do this. First of all,
no. Well, let me say one more thing about that.
Dangerous thing to say.
Is that go to this initiative? If you look back a few years ago, Jim Gibbons was going to run for governor. What did he do? He did the tax initiative to get his face around the entire state instead of just Northern Nevada. He's obviously going to run for governor again this next go around. So what does he do? Another petition to get his face around the entire state. Now,
this is similar to Richard Perkins taking the Education Committee on the road after he appoints himself chairman, on the road throughout the state where no longer can we access information because it's not telecommuted, it's not audio viable. Nobody can know what's going on with the Education Committee, but Richard Perkins is out there meeting the people and getting his name and face out there for his run for governor in 2000.
Well, let's not change the subject.
Hang on one second. I want to say one last comment, then I want to bring Scott back in. And my comment to you is this. It's very easy to talk about those 15 Republicans as radical, but the interesting thing about this program was we brought Lynn Hetrick on here time after time after time, and you know what? He was talking common sense. He wasn't a radical. He wasn't out there throwing bombs. He believed in his position. His constituents supported it. And the face of Lynn Hetrick on this program and The Voice told our viewers a lot different story than the fact that he was some kind of wacky radical. He just wasn't.
Well, I really want to respond to some of this. And first of all, Chris is one of my favorite guys in the business. He really does a good job.
Well, we love him too.
But this is not a group of insiders inside the legislature fighting with each other. An initiative petition process is a great democratic movement. We have to get 50,000 registered voters across no less than 13 counties. This isn't sponsored by some small group here, fought by some small group here. This is a decision that's going to be made at the voter ballot box level. And it's going to take, as I said, over 50,000 people to sponsor it. This is an idea that says, whatever tax wars this state's going through, this last cycle, this next cycle, and we're going through a whole reformation of how we're going to approach tax and budget issues. No doubt about that. We're basically saying, whatever wars you all have inside that building, set them aside when it comes to education, students, because we cannot mess with this institution because we are so dependent on people from all over the country to make our institutional system work. And we could do permanent damage. Education First is, again, sponsored by a broad base of people, and we want Democrats. And I believe that we will be able to reach out to them. It's very unfortunate that it's had this initial polarizing effect. I am a Democrat. I want it to be bipartisan.
Well, education is very important, but we all know there's other very important things. Medicaid, there's a ton of people that depend on that. And so if you then fund education and a tax increase is necessary to fund Medicaid, and you don't get that, that's a very important thing that's unfunded. Business development is important. Road construction is important.
Right.
So while education is important, you can't fund education and leave everything else out.
And thank you for saying that, because I totally agree with that. Unfortunately, right now, what we do, we pass the budget in huge pieces. We do the entire budget in 5 bills, one of which is just an authorization to collect taxes and put it into programs. So it's really 4. And there are 2 that are the biggest ones, education and the Appropriations Act. Frankly, we need to pass the budget and consider the budget in smaller bites, because right now we are going through this reformation of how we're going to do it. As long as it's all programs and education is the choice and education gets set aside, it's always going to be the rubber piece on whether taxes pass or don't pass. We can't afford to do that.
Well, let me make a prediction. When Jim Gibbons runs for governor, which he will, this initiative will be tied to his race for governor, and it'll be quite clear that Jim Gibbons' race for governor is tied to this initiative petition, just like it was last time.
Let me make a prediction. And I'm not here to speak for Jim Gibbons running for governor or any of the rest of that. I'll make a prediction that the number of signatures that come up on this initiative petition have as many or more Democrats than Republicans. This is a bipartisan supported effort on a grassroots level, and it's unfortunate that the organizations are turning it into a dogfight that it's not.
Okay, and I get the last word on this, which is that yes, absolutely, it would make much more sense to unbundle all these different things to fund them, but we are dealing with politics. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with the Pundits.
Now, there's a profound statement.
Before you head to Carson, take care of yourself with a visit to Tamarack Junction. Catch a hot cup of coffee and the morning news on one of our 32 TVs and enjoy the best food in South Reno. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
The Abowed family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Your home is an expression of all things comforting and familiar. For custom storage, you can count on California Closets to provide quality, value, and design integrity. The process is easy, combining your personal style with our organizing expertise. We care about what matters most to you, making your home functional and beautiful. California Closets, simplifying home and life since 1978. Call today for your complimentary design consultation.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Make your daily commute easy with breakfast or lunch at the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy daily specials, super fast service, and South Reno's freshest morning meals. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
We're here with a very full pundit panel this morning. Harry York, thank you for being with us, and Bob Larkin, Liz MacMenamin, and Chris Wicker. We're gonna change subjects briefly. I'm going to ask Chris and Bob, representing the Republican Party, Chris, of course, representing the Democratic Party, to give us quickly their thoughts on the Patriot Act, which the President brought up during the State of the Union, and which there's a lot of mixed emotion about out in the public. Chris, what's wrong with the Patriot Act?
Well, the Patriot Act was passed in the heat of reaction to 9/11. The problem with the Patriot Act is that it gives such broad powers of inspection without people knowing about it, with broad powers of finding financial information, basically search and seizure, sometimes without people even knowing their own records have been searched and seized. Even the architect of the Patriot Act in the Bush administration has had tremendous second thoughts about certain portions of the Patriot Act, and it's already been abused, and nothing against our law enforcement people, but when they have a tool available, they inevitably will use it to the max that they can.
Bob?
Well, you know, the Patriot Act, we're in a war. We need to have the tools available to us that the President needs to get the job done. And although we may not all agree with the Patriot Act, I think we can agree that national security and the enforcement of national security is the paramount issue right now. You know, there's no other group of individuals that are more hard hit by the Patriot Act than pilots. I know, I'm a pilot. We can have our license seized without our knowledge. We can be thrown virtually into a blank room without benefit of counsel on the mere suspicion that things are not right in our lives. So we need the act. We need what the President needs, and that's what's important. We need what the President needs.
And I think this is a debate we're going to hear a lot more of in Congress, and I think the two opinions are what we're going to be hearing. It'll be up to the public to decide. I'm going to bouncing around because we're so limited on time this morning. But Bob, before we move on, I hear a rumor that you might be getting ready to run for the Washoe County Commission for Jim Shaw's seat.
Well, Andy, I appreciate the heads up on that. I am going to have a press conference tomorrow at 10 o'clock in front of City Hall, Sparks City Hall, on the post office side, and I'll disclose my intentions for campaign 2004.
Liz, do people usually hold a press conference to say I'm not running?
Not usually.
See, in the news business, they call that a teaser, don't they?
Yeah, right. Okay, I also hear a rumor that Jim Shaw might run for Bernie Anderson's seat. Has anybody else here heard that rumor?
We heard that before.
I've heard a different Republican is running for the seat, but I'm not going to give her a plug today.
I think Randy Thompson is who you're talking. I heard that rumor also.
Bernie Anderson's going to be tough to beat. Tough to beat.
Although, you know, with the last legislature, I think that any seat in the Democrat side is going to be open, especially up here in the north. So I think Randy stands a very good chance of unseating Bernie in that race.
Bernie's fabulous record for the Nevada and Washoe County, I think that will get him reelected.
Harry, let me ask you as a businessman, and get back now to the initiative petition, the Gibbons initiative petition on education first. You as a businessman you were at the legislature relatively often, but not the whole time and everything. How do you feel about this? Do you feel like as a taxpayer you would feel better if education were funded first? You've got kids in school.
Well, I think the intent is certainly right on. I think I need to look at it, and I think the chamber system will go through the initiative and see if it's doing what they intend to do. If it's really going to take care of that education, I think everybody in the state would like to see education taken care of better than it currently is. But
Liz,
whether this is the right thing
Liz,
or not,
you just signed the petition. So
I did sign it. I did.
Dawn got your signature.
Dawn
before
got
she
me
left.
before she left out of here. I actually agree that the petition is, if it's set up correctly and it does what it needs to do, I'd like to see it happen. This last session was horrible. Holding the budget out with the education being held hostage was ridiculous. The kids, and they use an emotional factor, the children, and that I don't think it needs to be brought into politics in that way. I had a real hard time with that. Having been a teacher myself, I think that education is something we need to look at. And then we look at the budget for funding these other programs. Although I know they're important, there needs to be the kids taken care of first.
Well, Chris, isn't what you were saying earlier was that you were afraid that people won't vote for Medicaid, people won't vote to fund other government programs, so let's fund those first and then twist their arms to vote for education?
Well, I think one thing I'm saying is that we don't need this petition. We simply don't need it because the special session last time was kind of a unique situation. But I have no doubt that education will always be taken care of. And indeed, it was taken care of, and it was the special session that caused the strain on the education system, not the fact that education was not going to be funded. And so education is pretty safe because everybody's for education, and we don't need this petition to protect education. It's that simple.
Actually, I think we do need this petition. If it continues along the same lines as it did last session, this is something that we need to see brought out there to change the way we handle things.
I agree with that.
We aren't going to see another $800 million tax increase next session.
We hope not.
No, it's going to be 1.2 billion.
Harry, you have 10 seconds to tell us what was the biggest idea that came out of Directions 2004.
That we need to work with higher education in the business community to create a better atmosphere for businesses to move here.
Okay, that's it. We're out of time.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back.
It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best. I ordered this beef broccoli here at Harris Buffet in Reno, and it was here in less than 60 seconds. What's up with that, Dave?
Sam, that's one of 20 dishes that we guarantee fast, guarantee fresh, made to order 7 days a week at Harris Reno's Buffet.
And I understand that just for this month, a 2-for-1 special just by showing your Nevada ID.
That's correct. We want to invite all of our Nevada residents to come down and experience this great buffet. We guarantee you a fresh, quality meal.
It's fast, it's delicious, and it's 2-for-1 at Harris Buffet.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, voted Reno's best buffet by locals year after year. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch.
Atlantis.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
You don't want to miss Monday's show. We have an expert on body language. We'll take a look at some of these presidential candidates, and you can decide, are they lying or not? See you on Monday. Thank you for watching.